Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Language Lesson 142. Today we are going to begin with our oral language exercise. I'm going to say the sentence and you are simply going to repeat it after me. Perhaps you can add a jumping jack after each sentence. Number 1. Is everyone in his own seat? Number 2. Someone brought his muddy shoes in here. Number 3. Everybody brought his own lunch. Number 4. Neither Tom nor Pete forgot his ticket. Number 5. No one forgot his money for the offering. Number 6. Each of you must clean his own desk. Number 7. A person is known by the company he keeps. Number 8. Everyone said that he was ready. Number 9. Each of you must do his own work. And finally, number 10. Neither one would give me his help. All right, very good. Again, remember to just practice those exercises as much as you can so that you can hear how proper grammar sounds in context. Let's move on to our preposition song. Aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, among, around, at. That is the first set. Before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, by, down, during, except, for and from, in, inside, into, like, near, of, on, over, past, since, through and throughout, to, toward, under, underneath, until, up, upon, with, within, without. Now I am finished. Very good. So today we are going to be discussing something that is very significant. It's an absolutely important resource that we have access to either in a hard copy form at home or online on the website or otherwise. I want you to think to yourself, have you ever been in a conversation with your parents, for example, and they said a word that you had not a clue what it meant? Or maybe you're preparing for your book report and you're reading that favorite book of your choice and you also come across an unknown word. What do you do in a situation like that? Exactly. You would refer to what we call the dictionary. The dictionary provides a number of things. It has a plethora of information. And so we are going to go over the different things that we can find in a dictionary. Okay, so the dictionary provides the actual spelling of the word that you heard, the unknown word that you were not familiar with. It also includes the pronunciation of the word itself, along with the syllabication of the word, the part of speech of the word, and sometimes parts of speech, because one word could be a noun and a verb at the same time, but it would provide that context for you. It would have the definition, obviously, to help you, and the plural form of that particular word along with a sample sentence, which again, the context in which it's used helps to solidify its actual meaning. So let's go over some examples together on your workbook page. I want you to turn to page 215 and join me there. Okay, so now we're on page 215, and as you can see, it has a little synopsis as to what a dictionary is. It has hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of words, and no one person could possibly memorize all those things that we went over previously. So we have an example here of what we would refer to as an entry word. Okay, or you could refer to the words in the dictionary as entries. So this particular example is haven. It tells us immediately what part of speech haven is, which is a noun, based on the first definition. So if you look at the first definition, it says a harbor, especially one for shelter from a storm. However, there's a second definition as well that's provided, a place of shelter and safety. Now, if you are thinking to yourself, I still need a little bit more, the dictionary provides a sentence, as we mentioned before, that helps with the word in context. So the cabin was a welcome haven to the weary soldiers. Okay? And of course, if you weren't sure how to pronounce this particular word, the pronunciation is provided for you. Some dictionaries have it immediately after the entry word. Other dictionaries have it towards the end. You'd also notice that there's an accent provided if there's emphasis to be placed on that particular syllable. Okay, so you have the pronunciation, the syllabication, and you also have, as I said, the separation between the two. So haven. Very good. Okay, now we are going to get into some exercises together. So let's go ahead and look at page 216. On page 216, you have more examples of entries or entry words. And in this particular case, it breaks it down even more so. But I am going to ask the questions that we are going to be forming today based on this page. So this is the page you're going to refer to in order to answer the worksheets that we are going to be working on right now. So go ahead and direct your attention now to page 217. Okay, on page 217 it's asking you to answer these questions from, again, the dictionary page 216. All right, so it says, by looking at the entry words in blue type, find 7 entry words with 3 syllables and list them on the lines below. So now what you need to do is go back to page 216 and just look over that list. And again, I'm going to give you a hint. If you're looking for syllabication, you'd look towards the end. In this particular case, obstinate. Obstinate. Okay, so that would be an example of a 3-syllabication word. I gave you one answer. I want you to find another one on your own. Okay? Now let's move on to the next number on page 217. Or the next section, I should say. It's asking you now to find 2 entry words with 4 syllables. And then you're going to list them on the line below. So again, let's refer to page 216. From this list, can you find a word with at least 4 syllables? And once you locate that, you're going to then use that as one of the examples. Okay, number 2. Place the accent mark after the accented syllables in the following words. So just like we went over our example with haven, the accented mark was on the initial syllable. Well, they're providing words that you are going to go back to page 216 and locate where the accents are per syllable. Some of them have more than one. I'm giving you the clue in advance. If a word has more than one accent mark, make clear which one is stronger. And you'll notice which one is stronger on page 216 because it will be in bold. It will be a little bolder than the one previously. So let's go ahead and look at obstruct for A. Okay, obstruct is at the very bottom. And again, we're going to look at which syllable is accented. And we'll notice that it is the second part of the word. Okay, so when we refer back to the next page, you're going to place your accent directly behind the second syllable. So your paper should look like that if you did it correctly. Very good. Now let's move on. Number 3 is asking you to list two words that are illustrated. An illustration is basically a picture. Okay, obviously it will be easy to distinguish. There are only 2 pictures on the page, so there's one picture here and another picture there. You simply need to find which word each picture is associated with, and there you have your answers. So in this particular case, it would be observatory, would be one of them. For the next section, you simply have to identify the part of speech, and we are going to look at the first example, which is obvious. So I want you to locate the word obvious on page 216. It's at the very top, and you'll notice adjacent to it is the part of speech. So the part of speech would be adjective, and you'd record that in that section. Okay, number 5 is an example of words that have more than one definition. So it is asking you to write the second definition for each word. So if we were going to the word occasion, for instance, which would be located here, you would go not to the first definition, but the second one, and you would record that definition. So the time when something takes place. Now, keep in mind that what follows it is a sentence, so you're just writing the actual definition itself. All right, and there you have that page. And the last page that you'll be working on today is page 218. And you're simply going to answer whatever question is being asked. So we can choose a random one. A says, what are 2 synonyms for obstinate? Now, a synonym is basically a word that means the same. And you will see examples of that again when you go back to page 216. Now let's look at the very bottom. Number 7. Number 7 is simply asking you to pronounce the words on page 216. Just the words. You don't have to say the definitions, the sentences, etc. Okay? So you would take a list, you would take the list and simply go down and say observatory, observe, obstacle. That's all you have to do for that page. And finally, you have everything that we covered from the very beginning written for you as a reference tool as to what the dictionary provides. Have a great day.